There we
Good
go.
morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. It is Saturday. We're an hour earlier, so it is 9 a.m. So welcome. So good morning, Reverend Sheila Tillich. Welcome. How are you today?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Trying to adjust my camera here. Sorry about that.
I know sometimes things. It's all a learning curve. It sure is. That's for sure. So today we wanted to talk about divine time and right time. But before we get to the topic, would you like to talk about what you've got coming up if people are looking for you?
Oh my goodness. Caught me off guard here. Yeah, in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from last Wednesday, we have the Light Workers Connection on the 21st. Which is great. And we're going to be talking about tools to use and help us in this process of ascension and the spiritual divineness, what we're going through. So we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff like that. Also, let me see what's going on. I have my master instructor class in August for people that are already instructors. And then, of course, I have my intensive workshop, IET, which is in September. So people that want to learn that. Now, that's 3 days. All 3 levels really quickly, and it really helps you put the puzzles together. So that's in September. And then, of course, we have the regular, light workers and stuff like that. So I have also a free unity field healing that's coming up. I think that's on the 21st. I have to look at my schedule. Sorry, caught me off guard there. On the 20th, Tuesday the 20th, is a free Unity Field Healing event that you can go to, and you might get a chance to have a free session with me. So please take advantage of that, and I love what I do. I love sharing, giving away to keep it. And it's about, the mission, what we really are here to do. To be able
it's funny you say that, because on Crying, I was watching with the free event that was on just this past Wednesday night with Suzanne Giesman. Actually, Crying, talked about the exchange, the fair exchange of money, and how people can charge for their services, and how to keep it in balance by doing the things that are free, but then also having to pay your bills and showing the universe that you are worthy. So
now we talk about that a lot in my classes, when we get to that part, it's like, ugh. And I had that experience way back when I was doing mediumship classes, that I don't want to charge, it's like, it's energy exchange, and that, spirit allows us to be able to share these gifts every single day, and walking as souls on this earth, being the light workers that we are. In other words, shining our light and helping others see who they really are is what it's about. And we do that every single day without charging anything. However, we do have to pay the bills. And so with me leaving modern healthcare to do my business full time, this is my passion. This is who I am. And so much of it is free. And it's really about the value that you put on your worth, what is valuable to you. So when we do have to charge, it's good. You get a lot of in return, a lot more than you ever thought you would.
Well, it's funny you say that, because so after my classes, when I teach the evidential mediumship, or I teach the intuitive guidance with the cards, people are always like, how do I charge? How do I charge? Because they don't feel worthy enough to be able to share their gift in a way that there's a monetary exchange. And I have to have that conversation with them.
Issues in the tissues. Issues in the tissues.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but that's not what it's about. It's about letting the universe know that I am worthy, that I do deserve, that I am, worth the fair exchange, whether it's time, attention, money, whatever it is, and when you're sharing your gifts in a way that, because like you, I stepped out of education. So, I don't do anything but this. So if I didn't charge for this, I couldn't keep my lights on.
I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep at night. All that other stuff, So I loved how Lee explained it,
Yeah.
Cryan told him that, all the channels would be free. But,
Yep.
you can charge for what you teach and the knowledge that you have. And that's what it's all about, is that, all of us have been to different teachers and people that have helped us on this path. When you think about a teacher in school, they get paid to teach you. All right. So you have gained a lot of knowledge in your lifetime and in your classroom of life. And so it's monetary change. Absolutely. I love how my evolvement, my thinking is so profound now compared to what it was before. My involvement is understanding that I am worthy of all this. And that's where the topic comes in, divine time, the right time. And we go through this development or evolvement of learning that we are worthy and we are connected one with the universe and the energy is profound. So it all ties in. It all ties in with who we are and where we're going in this ascension.
It really does. And I just want to take a minute and welcome Lori. Good morning, Kara. Good morning, Tom. Good morning. And I just wanted to say I did put sheilatillich.com/events because all of her classes and all of her free events, everything she's got going on is on that page. And then this was interesting. Jay Say says, when spirit crosses over, are they able to understand all situations from their loved one's perspective? Example, if I was dealing with things and it took out on them but never told them why, as spirit, do you gain understanding from all perspectives?
Oh, absolutely. Once the soul crosses over, it's pure love. And those earthly personas or no, earthly situations that happen is no longer relevant as far as the pain. And what they want us to know is that everything that you went through is to help you learn and to help you grow in who you really are. I'm going to go back to that. Where's that question again? All right, let me read that again.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. They know, and a lot of times they're trying to get in contact with you, to help you have peace with it, because they have peace with it, but you still don't. And that's why a lot of times people connect with mediums to kind of get that message. And the key is that you can connect with them too, is that they are right there with us. And that's what Suzanne Giesman, when she was on Crying, was saying, that we all have the ability. And that's what I learned years ago. And understanding that is that the soul, yes, we all played a part in the soul process, in our interaction on lifetime, in each other's life. But when it's all about love, that's the main thing. Once they cross over, all that is gone, all the pain, all the hurt. And also, the guilt that is coming through is really your guilt. It's not their guilt. They understand they're part of it, but they want to give you comfort, that it's okay, you can let go. And they understand your perspective totally.
One of the things that Susan Giesman said last Wednesday night, she is a medium, and I have been practicing evidential medium for years now. And one of the things that really resonated with me was she said that spirit really has, very... the same message is what they're bringing through. They just bring it through based on their experience in the life. And really, that's what they want to do. They want to bring you comfort. They want you to know that they're okay. And they want you to know that, they do see things from that loving perspective. And there is no judgment. There is no criticism. There is none of that over there. And so anything that you are still feeling that was a contention in this life experience, that has dissolved for them, and they just want you to know that. And they bring that through in every reading I do. They bring that through in that unique way that's going to allow you to know that relationship between the two of you is healed. And in my own experience, I can tell you that my father and we never saw eye to eye. He was always afraid that I was not going to be okay because I was the different one. I didn't, stay in the safe job. I didn't do the expected. I didn't get married. I didn't have that stability that he really wanted for me, because as a dad, that's what he wants for his kids, to be safe and stable. And I was never that kid. I was always taking the risk. I was always in a precarious situation. I was always chasing the next dream or the next goal. But once he crossed over, it was like that peace came over me, that he was proud of me, that he did understand why I did what I did and made the choices I made. And it was healing for me to know that he was proud of me and that I didn't let him down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are so proud of us. They really are. And what I've awfully shared is that I'm closer to my loved ones in spirit than I was in human life, because we had all the interaction, all the emotional drama, all the stuff, that linear people have, and what's really important is love. And Suzanne's message, and years ago when I met Suzanne, I knew the genuineness of her, and that she was real, and that it was really about love. And what is your agenda, what is your purpose in life? And hers was to to know that your souls live, and to give hope for the people that have lost loved ones, that they haven't gone anyplace. It's just a different dimension they went into.
Yeah, I talk all the time on how they're just on the other side of the veil, and that veil is much thinner than we need. And I think that where Tom was going with the conversation, I'm struggling lately with balance between worth and ego, it's an interesting learning point. And that's where a lot of they try to help us see our worth and to know that what we're here in this life experience doing is what we're supposed to be doing. But it is a learning curve, and there is evolution that needs to happen. And I think that you were bringing that through really, really well just a couple of points ago with the worthiness, and that it is a process, it is an evolution. And to be honest with you, Tom, what I want to say to this is, because you're aware that you're struggling with the balance, that is how you're going to achieve more balance, because you know that you're out of kilter, that your ego is too much in play. And when you can recognize it, that's when you can change it.
Yeah. And talking about the ego, it's so much out there. And that's, when we're talking about the right time, the divine time, a lot of times people will think, I got to do this, I got to do that. There's I gotta again, instead of turning the control over to God and the right time, the divine time. Learning your value is very important, but we have to, it's like the layers that we have to take off. We have to unleash those layers of things that we've learned, and it's embedded in our cellular memory. That's why the energy work is so important, is to understand, what does this mean on a cellular level, from other lifetimes which you brought in, and then also especially this lifetime. So worthiness is really important. Ego, knowing a healthy ego, right? So healthy ego is different than the ego, which everybody, when they think of ego, they think of negativity.
The
But a
ego,
healthy ego, right? Healthy ego is standing in your sacred truth and knowing your divineness. All right, that's where the ascension process, when you get higher in frequency, you understand this, where it kind of solidifies in those cells that you are worthy, and that's the oneness. That Suzanne talks about, Cryan talks about, we all talk about. What is this really all about? Get past the superficial stuff, and let's really, look at what it's really all about, is that spirit never dies, and our loved ones, they are with us continuously. And I love how the examples that Suzanne gave about giving examples. And I talk to my loved ones and my team all the time. They're telling me, they say, how do you do that? It's like, it's there. It's because you have the open lines of communication constant. It's not like I go into meditation and I can open it up, the veil. The veil is open. It's there. And we can communicate with our loved ones and anybody else out there instantly. We're right there. So the ego is a big thing. Let it go.
Yeah. And, a lot of people who come to me who want to take my course, either the intuitive or the evidential medium, they say to me, the first question they always ask me is, can I do this? And my answer always is, everybody can do this, but it's about getting out of your own way. It's being able to shift your perception, your consciousness into that altered state. And it's almost a relief that I feel that comes over them, that they think, okay, so what I have been experiencing is what I've been experiencing, because everybody has some gut instinct or experience that they're bringing to the table. And that's why we're having this conversation. And ironically enough, the people that come to me asking those questions, it is the right time, because they're in that part of their journey. And that was the part of, as I was thinking about this topic today, what would I say about this? And this is what I would say is, we're all on a journey, and you're brought to where you need to be and the people in the support system where you're needed, when you're needed. So everything comes when it's the right time. So really, it's just about staying on the journey and keep taking those intuitive nudges, keep taking those inspirations and taking them and rolling with them, and not allowing the egotism to get in the way, the fear to hold you back from saying, I'm ready to take this step. I'm ready to learn how to tap into, tune into that is within me, that I know it's there, but I'm afraid of it because I don't know how to trust and act on it.
Absolutely. I'm reading what Thomas is putting down here. Thomas, I hear you. Thomas, I hear you. Okay, so
I have felt from my experience that what I've learned, that as we become more in touch with our soul and spiritual side now, the more we can ask, choose to get in touch even earlier with it during our next expressions lives.
very good. Very
Yes.
good.
Yes.
And I like Lori's comment. I just think we forget that sometimes we have to unlearn what we have learned. Absolutely. That's what, we talk about the programming and the old tapes, and we have to reprogram them or unstick them and change different. A lot of people say, how do I do that? You do different, not harder. Not harder, you do different. And you have to make choices. And sometimes those choices are really hard, is because it's going to upheave the whole basket. Everything with your life is going to turn over. However, that's where it's the right time, the divine time. And as you grow, things change all the time. Just like what we talked about, the contracts, our life contracts last week or the week before, I think it was, about, what we're here to do. And it's like, you can change it anytime. That's about the choices. And, for me as a child, I never knew I had choices. It wasn't until I became an adult and, had to really take a look at this. So there's so many things to look at when you think of the divine time, the right time, the divine time. And you get there right when you're supposed to. Right.
Yeah, and I think that's that big aha moment for me a while ago was that this is a journey, there's no destination. Because once you get to a destination, then you're on to the next part of your journey.
Exactly. I'm now reading what Jay says about, have you guys been to the other side?
And that is not difficult to leave that place of love and come back to your vessel. Oh my God, yes it is. Oh my God, yes it is. It's so hard to come back, because when you can feel that total acceptance and universal love in a way that we don't experience here, it is heady. It is heady, and it is very hard to come back. I've been in several meditations where I think, no, I want to stay right here. I want to stay in this energy. I want to stay in this feeling. I want to stay in this connection. But unfortunately, we're here to evolve. We're here to be human right now.
Yeah. But also, if you look at it this way, you can be there. You can be on both sides at the same time. That's where, expanding your consciousness and living in the divineness, you feel that love. That's why I said I'm closer to my loved ones now than I was in human form. And knowing that love, just like the tickle that you get when you're helping somebody, when you're sharing who you really are, and you can look into their soul and say, I get it. It's because that's the oneness connection of who we are, and that keeps us on our journey, knowing I'm on the right path. This is what I need to do. And it's the right time, the divine time.
Yeah, because I get so many questions in whether it's a AET session, whether it's a reading, whether it's whatever but when is this going to happen? When am I going to be happy? When am I going to get this? When is that going to happen? And the answer is when it's time, when you are in that space of receiving, because it's always right there for you, but are you able to receive it? Are you vibrating at a frequency where you can receive it? And if you're being bogged down by those old hurts and those old self-sabotaging stories, then you're not receiving it. It's not that it's not there. That's part of your evolution, is learning how to receive it, how to get in alignment with what is for you by raising your vibration.
Yeah. I love what I do, being able to help people unravel all this. Most of them come because they're stuck. They don't know why they're stuck, and, not exactly. It's not just the healing work that I do, but the counseling that I do, the spiritual counseling, being a metaphysical minister. And that is because I've gone through it and I understand it. And so this has allowed me to be able to connect on that heart center, the soul center. There's so many levels of right time, divine time, unlocking things that have been locked in those cells for eons, and then realizing the potential you have now as a soul to tap into that. That's what this consciousness shift is all about. And that's exactly what what we teach on the team. And it's about love. And it's about how do you live in both worlds at the same time? And it's about being that light, being that lighthouse, as Cryan explained, being a lighthouse, but shining your divineness by who you are and what you do, and we've talked about it over and over again. A lot of times we lose the people that are so close to us, that we walked this path with, and that's their choice too. And just as it's your choice to continue on in your evolvement, and sometimes it's painful, and that's where, healers come into play, and what we talk about with spirit and people helping you.
And, one of the things that was brought to my attention actually just this morning was that, and even for myself, I think this really resonated with me, was sometimes we don't even know what we're missing out on because our traumas and dramas have been holding us down for so long. And sometimes we don't know how light we can be. We don't know how good the experience can be. We don't know how through ease and grace, things can flow to us because we've been pushing and striving and hurting for so long. We don't even know what it feels like to feel good or to know how to be in the flow. And I think that as healers, sometimes, for me, I would say definitely personally for me, I have to remember that. I have to remember that I've done the work, and I have to remember that some people are still mired in their stuff and they need help out of it. And to remember to stay compassionate to where they are on their journey, because as great is it I know they can get to, they're not there yet, and they don't even always recognize how good it can get. And that's where I think it's really important to stay aware that when they're asking the question, when am I going to feel better? It's because they've been feeling so bad for so long, and they don't even recognize how good they could feel.
Exactly. It's so important to be in touch with who you are, to connect inside, feel the love that's inside. And I want to take this opportunity to say hello, Stephanie, and also Darlene. Hello, welcome.
Good morning, ladies.
Coffee. Good morning. I love this talk. Does anybody else have any other questions that we have? I think we missed out a couple of them back here. I want to go back. Maybe we didn't.
No, I think good morning, Rhonda.
No. Rhonda said there was a feedback, but I don't know. Is it better now, Rhonda? I think it's a little bit better now.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah. That's better. So let me play devil's advocate. If someone comes to you, Sheila, and they're really, really struggling with, I can't get out of my own way, what do I do? Where would you say to begin? What would be a good beginning?
Well,
Thomas
we
will
talked
take the question. While she's answering this, you ask your question.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot the question.
Where would you start? Like if you were just on.
All right. So it was one of the techniques that I taught on the light workers the other night about doing the SIP. And I learned this from Suzanne Giesemann years and years ago, and she calls it sitting in peace. I call it sitting in presence. All right. So the present moment right now. All right. And it's like, you can do this in 3 minutes. And all you do is what do I need to know now? You're going to go and ask spirit, whoever it is over there, what do you need to know now? And it's a technique where you get quiet. Okay. And for 3 minutes, you keep asking that question and wait for a response to come through. And sometimes you might not feel a response, and sometimes you will. So the whole key is that there's so many things that you can do right now, all right, to kind of like change your old behaviors, right? Nothing changes when nothing changes. So you have to do something. You have to take action. That's the whole key. And a lot of people say, what action to do? And I always say, keep it very, very simple. And the 3 minutes a day, a lot of people can take 3 minutes a day. A lot of people can't take 20 minutes of meditation, but they can take 3 minutes a day, you know? So sit in the presence, get quiet, breathe deeply, breathe out, exhale even deeper so that you activate the actual relaxation from the vagus nerve, and actually start to ask that question, what do I need to know right now? And it's just like when we ask God, what do I need to do to relieve this stuff, whatever. And a lot of people, we ask this question, but we don't listen. All right. We don't get quiet. We don't listen. And because we say, I got all this stuff going through my head. Okay. Recognize it, watch it go by like a cloud going by, and say, I get it. Go back to it. And if they give you an answer, ask more. Ask questions into it. Well, how do I do that? Show me, So it's all about questions. It's a communication with spirit back and forth, that we all have it. And that's the divineness in you. All right. That's what's showing you to grow and change. You have to take action, and you keep it very simple. And apply it in your life all the time. And I have a cat that's right outside my window that just poked I had a deer the other day when I was getting ready to go to Tressa's that was right in front of my window, which was watching me get ready, which was really cool. So I love the animals. So I love how nature, when you're talking about all this stuff, is like, yeah, that kind of comes in. I'm sorry.
Good morning, Sharon. Hello, Lori. And Lori says, I've been practicing that every day since you taught it. How is it going? Let us know. And good morning, Hope.
And what was the question that Thomas wanted? He was going to ask
it. He hasn't given it yet. Jigsaw says, when your loved one passes over, do they meet my spirit guide or only their own? Or can they become like a super team for you should they choose?
Oh, all right. Should I answer that one?
Yeah.
I got a little clue for you. They are one with you. All come. So your spirit guides, your loved ones, they're all one. And we have to put a name to it. All right. So we have to and they are all there for you. And that's the joy of when you do cross over, that you meet them. Now I do hospice work. All right. And what is cool is when the guides and the loved ones start coming way before they pass over, and that they've crossed the veil, that they can see both worlds at the same time. And it's astonishing how the healing happens when they realize it's like, everybody's there. You didn't lose anybody. They're right there on the other side. They're waiting for you. So your guides, your loved ones, your ancestors, and you, in other lifetimes, that's your ancestors, by the way. Little clue there. That's you, and that's when you make the connection that you are all one. When you look into another person's soul and you say, I know you, I don't know how I know you, that's the universe connecting us all together. And when we cross over, we just feel this joy from the universe, is that we are one. It's true. So they will be there. Everybody will be there. And they're still here with you. That's the whole key. They're still here and they want to communicate with you, but you got to be open to it. And it's like, how do I do that? Sit. What do I need to know now? People give suggestions, things will pop in or they won't. And then it's like, okay, it's not working. Now switch the channel. What do I need to know from what I did yesterday? What did I do wrong yesterday? What can I do? Just ask the questions and then sit and wait for the communication to happen, because it will be there. They want to talk to you.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Thomas came back with, I've stayed away from calling in my ancestors' relatives from this life. It hasn't resonated with me. To a point, if I see a medium, I don't prevent my ancestors from coming in. I know the answer to my own question now. Lately, I've seen my mom. She's alive. Last week, I've seen a portrait of my grandfather in a meditation. Is this like a sign that it's time to invite them in? Or rather, there is a connection there on that lineage of my family that I may need to explore? And I don't have the rest of it, Thomas. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, you've got it right there. It's time. Right. So, Thomas, then we have to look at, why don't you want to bring in your ancestors in? So it's tying in with that cellular memory. All right. Some things that you don't want to remember from past lives. And there's a big connection. Yes, your mother in spirit, here's another thing too, is that people think that they can only connect with a person's soul when they passed over. That's not true. Well, in my experience, is that you can communicate with a loved one. That's the consciousness field right now, and that's the connection that you have. Now, of course, your grandfather and your mother, you've got to connect with DNA. So them coming in, your grandfather coming in, yes, absolutely. I think it's a sign. It's like it's time to allow your ancestors coming because they want to. So that's the blockage there. There's a blockage why you don't want to talk about the ancestors. You want to talk about today. And so that's, in the sessions that we've had, whatever, that's something you can work on. So they're there. Don't be afraid of it. And it's wonderful, the connection. The ancestors, the people are still living now.
Yeah, Sheila, I just want to chime in and say there's been more than one time I've been in a reading and I start with the evidence and the person's like, that person's alive. Because I'm connecting with the higher self, the consciousness of that loved one who has a feeling or wants to relay a message from that higher perspective to my person who's sitting there.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely, Thomas. I see that. He said,
I somehow communicated with souls that were alive now. Yeah, your higher self is communicating with their higher selves. It's all the consciousness field.
Okay, so Lori says, I have a question. What happens to them in spirit when they reborn? And are they still on that side or on the other side? They're in both. That's the whole key. Cryan did channelings back, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and talked about that, is that you have a connection, soul connection, and your loved ones, just because they passed over, they're still in your life now and also in the lives to come and the lives before. That's the feeling that that even though they might be reborn into another soul or another human, but that soul presence is still with you. And that's like a lot of people say, well, they already reincarnated, so I can't connect with them. No, the soul is always connected. Always, whether they've already incarnated in another lifetime or from all the other lifetimes. And that's where our linear mind can't concept this. That's why we need to get out of the linear mind and go to the higher frequency mind and realize that we're all connected. And that's the messages of hope, all right, that Sudan gives. But she specializes in people with grieving, but really it's exactly what Cryan has been saying all along. It's all about love. And what are we really here to do? What is our soul's purpose? What are we here to do? It's about being that love and the divineness that we have, and to realize that we are all one, and that love, and it never dies, absolutely never dies.
It's not frustrating for them if we can't hear or respond to them. Like before my brother passing, I was not aware of all this.
But that's okay. It's all right. It could be frustrating, and it could be more of hurt that, he didn't contact you or whatever. But don't, it's like beating yourself up because you didn't know. It's like, you don't have to. And we live with so much guilt, all of us, guilt about who we are and what we did or whatever. It's like, let go. It doesn't matter. His love is still there. And what is really cool is when you do a reading with people. I remember years ago, I was like, I don't want to hear from that person. I want to hear from this person. Well, guess what? This soul, who will come through when they need to. However, it opens the door for the ones that you really want to hear from to come in. But first, what's important is this conversation.
And that's what I tell people all the time when I sit down to do a reading with someone, that who shows up may not be who you want to show up, but it's who has a message right now. And then as we move on, we can get to the people that you want to hear if they want to come through. So yes, that is definitely very important for anyone looking to go to a medium, that just because you have an idea of what the experience is going to be may not be even close to what the experience is, because spirit is going to come through. Spirit, and I wanted to also, this was for Jay Saw, because he said, what if, you don't hear it? Spirit keeps bringing the message until you do receive it. Whether you receive it where, you hear it, you feel it, you know it, they keep bringing it until you get it. I teach this all the time, that spirit is very subtle, it's very fast, but it's persistent. They will keep coming until you get it. And it could be years. So don't think that they're going to give up. at all until you get what you need. And it is always going to be for your evolution. It's always going to be to take you to that next lesson or onto the journey, which is why, it's so important to know that the when really isn't important. And getting into the idea of surrender is so important, because the how and the when, they will join those dots up for you. You don't have to do a darn thing. All you have to do is stay present, stay aware, and keep making the moves as you're inspired and as you're being led. That's your role.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Melissa, it's time. It's time. We went over, but just wait a minute. We got to read it.
It comes to my experiences with mediums. I don't want the grief counseling or assurance from loved ones about my current life, as some mediums call it. I'm doing well and have accepted my current life, so I've limited access to them in my past lives. Well, I'm over that major part, so I've wanted information that I need to know now to further my growth and not about the past. I'd love your thoughts on this too. The thing is, Thomas, it's important to be open-minded, because again, they're going to bring the messages through that they can see your overarching goal. They can see your life purpose. They can see what you need, whether you believe you need it or not. And sometimes I do bring messages through that people don't want because they're not ready for it. But what I would say is try to be open-minded, because what you receive in a session may not resonate at that point, but a month or a year later, it'll be like, oh, that's what that message was about. So I would say, honey, be very, very open-minded and just allow the messages to come through and take what resonates and just kind of save whatever else for later. And yes, it is important to find the medium that resonates with you. There are mediums that I've sat in front of and I thought, absolutely not. And there's other mediums that I've sat in front of and I thought, okay, I found my person. So it is important to get that energetic connection and exchange, because it does make a difference. And I'm never, ever, I don't ever take it personally if someone doesn't want to work with me, because I just know it's not an energetic match. So I think it's just about being discerning about who you do put yourself in front of and just staying open-minded.
What I would just like to share is that you have the power to tap in yourself. Think about that. Think about that. That's what the new consciousness is. Being a medium is wonderful because we help enlighten you and the power that you have inside. Answering questions, helping you go along, is that we all have the power, and it's within that's our.
And that's why I love teaching my classes. Honestly, Sheila, that is what give my passion. Is allowing and seeing people's growth and coming into their own reception of that connection, because again, we all have it. Now, how do we tap into it? And that's why I love teaching, whether it's the evidential mediumship course or it's the intuitive guidance course. It's all about getting in connection and building that relationship. And that's what I teach, building the relationship with your team of guides, angels, ascended masters, and crossed over loved ones, because it is important to have the conversation, because that is how you know to get into alignment.
Yeah. So I'm just going to, before we pop off here, I just want to put a plug in for the Fire Walk workshop that I'm going to have in the fall. So that is exactly what this is all about. And it's about tapping into your power that you have inside. Is that going through a fire walking is not so much about going over the coals. It is about all the preparation that you do to see your magnificence, how powerful you are, and the strength that you have. It's very life transformative, right? And so a lot of people, good morning, Vicki, my niece from Florida. Hello. A lot of people, wants the way to grow. So that's an avenue that you can do. So I forgot to plug that in, but that's going to be October 30th, and it's gender, both genders. So it's wonderful. So check my website out. And I know we have to go because it's late.
Yes. So SheilaTillich.com/events. It's all there, and everything about me right now, guidance311.com, my new website. It's still in building. So the classes aren't there yet, but if you are looking to start your IET journey, I'm there. And if you're looking to get into connection, that is there. But yeah, guys, we're going to go. But thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you for joining the conversation. Stay tuned. We'll be back and we will be
Not next week. I'm going to be out of town next week, but the week after.
Right. So that's what I was going to say. Stay tuned, and we'll put up when and what we're going to talk about. So thank you for being on this journey with us. We love you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Enjoy your Saturday, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.